Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by Mana Traders, as well as Twitch subs and Patreon supporters just like you. My name is Evan Irwin. Get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Power Dragon.
What's up, everybody? And welcome to those of you that might just be discovering us because you're Final Fantasy fans.
Oh, goodness. Ruben Bressler.
Oh, that hadn't occurred to me. Yes, welcome, fans of Final Fantasy, to our Magic the Gathering show where we're going to talk about that set.
All the fantasies and all the finals is happening right here. If you missed our pre-show, where things get, the language gets a little silly, we talk about all sorts of stuff. You can access to that extended version right after the show. If you're a patron for $5 or more, check it out, patreon.com/magicmics. We appreciate it. We kick it off with our first pick, and it's all Final Fantasy, right? We are right now in the very thick of it. We're in the trenches of the Final Fantasy previews. The set is coming out. The set is showing up all over the place. We are getting previews by the day. We have a whole schedule that is currently being outlaid, is currently being shown, where these previews are happening day in, day out. They appear, now, correct me if I'm wrong, was anyone prepared for them to dump all of the commander lists the other day? Just like... here?
It's weird. Sometimes they put them all out early, and then sometimes they're like the beginning of the second week. I don't know what decides what, so I just assume somewhere in that window of time we'll see them.
Yeah, it felt like one day we were getting some commander cards, and then it was like, here, dozens. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah, it did feel like a bit of a slam on the gas early compared to our previous preview seasons.
No,
But I don't mind it. I don't mind having a bunch early on to talk about instead of having it slow trickle and not really knowing the context of what standard would look like.
there's also a possibility that it had to do with release schedule of information elsewhere. There may have been one or two characters or something that appeared in the decks, and they just wanted to have it out front versus it being spoiled or whatever somewhere else, if I were guessing. That could have led to that happening.
Now, one of the big things that happened over this past week was there was a live panel that happened at PAX. At PAX East, it took a long time. It was what, like 2 hours?
2 hours.
Around 90 minutes in, I was feeling it pretty hard. I'm like,
Yeah, unnecessarily 2 hours, I will say.
we could probably, you know what I mean? We did it, but I mean, we're all very excited, but like, okay,
I think you're right. About an hour and a half was really plenty.
would have been just fine. And for what it's worth, I think the idea of it, and I believe this was hosted by Ben Starr. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so, yeah, and the idea was like you start with the beginning, Final Fantasy 1, you reveal cards from all the different Final Fantasies and stuff. There was a whole bit at the end with Sid that had 15 different versions of Sid.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is very cute.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That was awesome. I love that.
He's a legendary creature that you can have any number of in your deck. I think that's adorable.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And he's blue-white and he's cool and he's fun. I think that was just brilliant. So there was, I think, a lot of cool ideas in there. And then at some point, Power Dragon, tell us, there were wrestlers or something? I didn't recognize the wrestlers.
Yeah, so they had two AEW superstars, Adam Cole and Kenny Omega. So if you're a wrestling fan, you know who they are. They're very big. They've both been in the business for several years. And they had another woman, I believe she was from The Boys, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where I've seen her.
Mhm.
And then they had Talia Vess as part of the four celebrities that were going to play some game with the audience or whatever, which was kind of fun and cute, but it was kind of just weirdly placed in the middle. It like broke up the presentation for about 30 minutes or so in the middle. And it kind of just went a little long and it just, I don't know. It felt kind of thrown together unnecessarily.
Yeah, Karen Fukuhara, she's on plays in The Boys. Yeah, there was this whole series of like guessing games or whatever of like,
Yeah,
how many
it was like
White
a weird.
Legends have there ever been, and
It was like a
whatever.
pseudo Price is Right sort of kind of thing.
Get it without going over type thing.
Yeah.
And so once person A guessed and person B clearly knew the line, right? And
Yeah.
so it got a little silly in that regard. And we're Magic players, right? So we're going to figure out how to game it. And so,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get it. Like, I knowing nothing about wrestling, I didn't know who those people were. And
I
just-
felt more bad because you brought celebrities on and you didn't let them be celebrities. Like they literally were just there to ask the question and then pick a number. They didn't really get to play up their personalities. They didn't
Right.
show their expertise in anything. And that to me was disappointing because otherwise, like, why have the different celebrities and characters on the stage if they're not gonna do the thing. You paid for them to be there
Right.
as their celebrity selves. Let them just have some fun with it. Even if you just do that as your wrap up at the end of the presentation.
Right. For example, like, something that we talked about in the pre-show, like we were trying to think of stuff we did like in 2005 or whatever. Imagine they were like, hey, this wrestler guy, what was a big point in your career? And let's say it was 2014. And you go, okay, from Final Fantasy 14, here's a cool card, right? So you
Yeah,
can connect to
yeah.
them and their career and the game and the preview. Oh, wow, that'd be really cool, right? Maybe you can show a clip if they let you, even if they don't, you can still say, 2014, I was the wrestling champion of the so-and-so, right? And in Final Fantasy 14, so-and-so was kicking blah, blah, blah's butt. Let's take a look, Like, that stuff you could put together, but this whole, like, bring the people up to with their guesses, and you're, like, sitting there just, like, writing down numbers as, like, a professional wrestler?
Yeah.
What?
Dude, Adam Cole has a actual interactive ring entrance. And I was like, just play his music when he comes out. That's all you have to do. Like, it's very low-hanging fruit, honestly.
So, in some ways, loved it. In other ways, I'm not sure what happened there, but, I appreciate them trying, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
a
where we're
start,
at.
right? Step one.
Step one, give it a shot, see what you can do. Okay, sure. Otherwise, they dropped the Final Fantasy mechanics article on us. Let's take a look at this. That just kind of go ahead.
Yeah, they're kind of basic abilities for this set, which I think is fine.
I think that's perfect, actually.
Yeah.
Job
I think
select's
that
kind of silly, but all right. Whatever.
Job select is exactly what it says on the tin. Is it makes a 1/1 hero. Cool. Awesome. Get people into the game. Incredible.
Yep.
There's tiered spells, which is interesting. I like that. It is more it is effectively it's spree, right? It's exactly the
it's a spree
same
spell.
thing as spree.
Well, but you can only choose one. You can only choose.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you can only choose the one. Yes.
Spree, you could choose as much as you could pay for. This one, you
Yes.
only choose one, which is kind of interesting. It's like the 400th different way of doing metal spells, but sure, whatever.
They did transforming cards, which I think makes total sense for this stuff. They brought adventures back, which is super easy. The only super complicated thing that's coming is saga creatures, which we are very excited about as Magic players, but it is a little bit complicated, and it will lead to some rules nightmares.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think overall the mechanics they chose are fairly easy, and I think for any time you're doing Universes Beyond sets that you're going to be getting fresh faces that aren't necessarily familiar with Magic yet, choosing the mechanics that are very quick and easy to grok, I think are pretty important, just as long as they're flavorful so they at least somewhat make sense to that new audience.
I cannot be the only one who first read this black creature as Marlboro. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Little conflict.
I'm pretty sure I did the exact same thing.
Sure.
Get your Marlboros, come kick your ass. That card's silly. I don't like it. It's going to hurt you. First of all, there's adventures, but only on the cycle of towns.
Only on the towns.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. Yeah. It's Final Fantasy.
Hey, they also gave us Townlands.
They give us
cool.
Townlands.
Dude,
I'm fine with the adventures only appearing on lands. That's fine.
Speaking of towns, Starting Town has a lot of dumb potential.
That card is very good.
Starting Town is really very cool. But
yeah, that's one that I literally told people, like, if there's a land that you want to get out of this set, that might be the one.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the idea of Starting Town happened here. This is a rare land. This land enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game.
That card is very good.
It taps to add a colorless mana, actual wingding, and it tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color. And I appreciate the fact that they recognize that the first 3 turns we know and recognize and can remember. If this was like on turn 7 something happens, we're screwed. We're never going to remember this.
Sure.
But that's cool with me.
We've had first 3 turn cards in the past, starting with Sarah Avenger, among others in the past. So I think that is
this card's real good. Like, you can put it in every commander deck. You can play 4 of in a lot of like modern decks, legacy decks, whatever. Like this could be a cool card for a lot of decks.
Yeah, aggro likes all the cards that do this type of thing. My favorite bit about Sarah Avenger is that R&D was convinced this card was going to be insane. They were like, this card is nuts. They made it like the champs card or whatever. And so they're like, yeah, this card is going to be crazy. It's going to be top tier. The people who win champs and states.
I mean,
they're going
it's
to want
real
that.
good.
No, it
but
wasn't. That card was
it was
unplayable jank. It was
no
garbage.
in standard. It was playable. It
No,
just
it
wasn't in
wasn't.
the best deck. Yes, it was.
It
was
did
in
get
the
played, but it wasn't great.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't great. It wasn't an all-star. It very quickly got outclassed by Tarmogoyf and any other green-white creature that you could play on turns 2 and 3, like Kavu Predator. But yeah, it wasn't good until you could sneak it into play with an Ether Vial and Death and Taxes.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah. That's what you're remembering is the Death and
But
Taxes.
also,
Aether Vial. I remember being a standard and being like, this card's absolute shit.
Sure.
Sorry. It's poop. It's poop. All right. And Sarah Victor, we tried to put it in the cube, and it was just a disaster.
Sure.
But it's funny and it's silly. But yeah, either way, the idea of a starting town getting you that mana early, that's very exciting. I love the hell out of it.
Yeah, because we already play pain lands of various types, right? We're fetching and taking a damage. We're playing just regular Carplusion Forest and tapping and taking a point of damage. So, like, why not just have one that gives us any color?
Right.
It's not any different.
Now, here's the question. There is the question of reprintability of these cards. Now, if they're legendary creature names, you're never going to expect that to be just, free or whatever. But can they reprint starting town with a land type of town and then not, right?
Yeah.
Does it?
That seems inoffensive enough.
Yeah.
Does it?
That seems inoffensive.
Yeah,
that seems Orcish That seems more Orcish Bowmasters than the One Ring. That one feels like you could put it anywhere.
I'd hope so. Now, obviously, I would like that to be true, but I don't know.
Sure.
I'm telling you, this set, when it rotates out of standard, will be probably, 2028 is like when we can start making universes within Masters. And a bunch of cards will probably come from this set.
Oh, God knows what the One Ring's will be worth at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like it got banned and it's still $50 or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Jesus, $70? Whatever. It's silly. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. So the idea that that the mechanics are not too crazy, I get, right? We also spoke in the pre-show about how this set took 5 years to get made. They're not going to try something crazy. There's not Dredge ain't going to show up in the Final Fantasy set. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like they might have had Kicker and taken it out or something, but like they're not going to do anything really weird in this set. They're going to play it safe. These are safe standard mechanics that work and they know work, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It takes a longer amount of time to make something clean and simple. There's the old Mark Twain quote of it. I would have written a short letter, but I didn't have enough time, so I wrote a long letter instead.
Exactly.
Right? If you have 5 years to be able to distill something down into its simplest, easiest to digest form, then you're going to be able to get something that someone coming to Magic for the first time from Final Fantasy is going to be able to like and enjoy.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
I wanted to take a look here. They are doing 3 secret layer drops as they're wont to do at this point, as it should be included in the standard agreement with all Universals Beyond stuff.
Sure.
Or Universes rather. They're going to do 3 new drops, and one of these of the 3 is insane. In fact, it might be the best value secret layer drop I've seen since the one they did for Extra Life. The one that they had the Craterhoof Behemoths that was drawn by the little kids or whatever.
Yeah.
The Craterhoof that was done by the artist or whatever. Like that was stupid value. That was crazy value. And so this is neat. You get a Rainbow Foil Gilded Lotus promo card when you purchase of select bundles. Sure, whatever. So they did the first one, not that interesting. This is the Game Over one with Day of Judgment, Temporal Extortion, Toxic Deluge, Praetor's Grasp, and Star of Extinction.
There's still some pretty playable stuff in there, though.
I was going to say, this isn't terrible.
Yeah, that one's pretty solid.
But this next one, Mother of God, called Grimoire, it has Prismatic Ending, Cyclonic Rift, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very, very expensive Magic card. It has Damn, which hasn't been reprinted yet, as far as I know. So there's that. They gave you a Lightning Bolt because value, and the last card is Heroic Intervention, and these all have super hot Final Fantasy artworks with super cool characters all over them. Very expensive, very playable cards. Jeez, this is going to run out in the first 4 seconds. If you can get you one, because this value is dumb. I don't know how
Yeah.
to
I
say
think
it.
they're all gonna sell.
They're all
Honestly.
going to sell, but this
Yeah, they're
one's
all
going to
going to
go.
sell, but that
Yeah.
one definitely has card value
yeah.
for sure.
It's wild. That free lightning bolt, just like, why not? You know?
Yeah.
Like, hell far.
I mean, so the first collection of Wraths, the Toxic Deluge is the money one, I think.
I think that sounds about right.
Grimoire, Cyclonic Rift, and Heroic Intervention, and Prismatic Ending, I think, are all something.
Yeah. And Prismatic Ending just having a cool promo version.
Right.
You know, and we saw this with like Laura Croft. Tomb Raider had one of their cards was like cheaper at the beginning before it was like, you know, its counterpart, and as later double tripled in value from its counterpart. Why? Because it's the Tomb Raider thing.
Sure.
So like that could happen here, is where people buy a lot of them, price might go down a little bit, might be under the other printings, but I assure you, long term Final Fantasy cards is the only time you're going to be able to get them. It's the only way you're able to get them. We've been here before. We have seen this song and dance, and when these cards are good and expensive and very low printings, even if they print a whole bunch of them, like, it's going to be nuts. So,
and then the last collection, which is the weapons.
Yeah.
The only one that is really a ton is Blade of Selves, right? Or is Storyteller's Staff?
No, you have a sword in there. Sword of.
Oh, there's a sword in there. Oh,
yeah.
Ooh, Sword of Truth and Justice.
Truth and Justice. Nice.
Very nice.
Sword of Truth and Justice. Jite, man, it's all right. It has a little value, and people at least play with Colossus Hammer. That's actually a whole deck in Modern or whatever.
Indeed, it is. And so, Blade of Selves is absolutely huge as far as I understand it in terms of playability and value. Cloud's Buster Sword is still Cloud's Buster Sword, and Umazawa Jite is still a very iconic card, even if it's not the most powerful these days. And yeah, again, a sword's a sword. So. And beyond this, and again, beyond this, any of these collections, there is an extra bonus card in there. And these days, they're starting to do the thing where the bonus card could be one of X cards, and one of them might be stupid expensive. Something smothering tithe with Mr. Krabs on it. Like, it could be a very expensive thing. So, you know, and these are things they're selling you, right? These are bundles. They want your money. We get it, right? These are capitalism being capitalism. But this is also like, you know, when you get these opportunities to work with another IP, put awesome cards on them so that they make them valuable. They sell out immediately. Those numbers look great. You're able to tell the licensor, you're like, hey, we're going to make these bundles cool and valuable and special, because when people like us see them, we go, you can't not get this. It's got Cyclonic Rift and 4 other cards. You've already got your money back.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. They go on sale June 9th, 9 a.m. PST, noon Eastern. Expect to be in a line for a minute. We hope it doesn't melt like it did last time, and took like 3 or 4 hours to finally get back up and running again. But I did successfully get my SpongeBob stuff, and that was when that happened. So,
well, I right now would anticipate breakage.
Definite breakage. Like, be there, be square, but I don't think it's going to last very long, question mark.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit about the Precons, and I think they're hot fire, honestly. I think they look really cool. You know, the new art looks awesome. I think the new cards are really sweet. You know, I think if you're looking here to appeal to Final Fantasy players, you know, the keywords are there, the characters are there. I think it's rad. And Wizards is like, hey, what if the turn 3 infinite win combo is there? In your Precon. So right here, rebel.bsky.social, Rebel Crescent here, noted that hit him with the Precon infinite combo, turn 1 hardened scales, which says if 1 or more +1/+1 counters we put on a creature you control, put that many +1. It also includes Walking Ballista, which has an ability of remove a counter from it to deal 1 damage to any target. And then lastly, you have Gata and Luzu, a white and 2 generic mana 1/1, rare legendary human soldier with flash. When it enters, you choose target creature you control. If damage will be dealt to that creature this turn, prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So you infinitely ping Walking Ballista, you choose Walking Ballista, and you ping itself over and over and over again. You're preventing the damage, you're adding twice as many counters, and then you murder your opponent with it instantly.
Nice.
Turn 3 on a Precon. Let's go.
That's great. Love it.
Also, that is by far the best artwork on Walking Ballista.
That's incredible art.
That thing's sick.
That thing is dope. That looks good. For those who don't, because I didn't mention it, for those who don't know what Walking Ballista, you don't remember, it's XX for a 0/0. It's a rare artifact construct creature. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. For 4 generic mana, you can put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then again remove the counter to put 1 damage to any target, and so on. So yeah, it assembles itself. And was that intentional? I don't know. Does it matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't expect
there?
it's going to happen all that often anyway.
Right. It's not going to happen all that often. It requires your opponents to be little fishies and bowls. Like, there's a lot of things that have to just kind of go right or whatever. And again, it's casual, right? Like this type of discovery for a new player would just melt their minds. You know what I mean? Can you imagine like the person's putting it together, they're reading it and they're putting the thing.
Well, that's going to happen to someone.
Stuff, right? Yeah. And someone's going to be like, wait, if I, and then I, and the other Magic player across the table goes, and then they go, and then I can, and they go, and they go, oh my God. And that is one of the moments that get you hooked on Magic because you can put these pieces together and go like, oh my God, that's awesome. So thanks, Wizards. We appreciate that. Goodness gracious. Love it, love it, love it. All the Final Fantasy stuff. We'll talk more about our Final Fantasy favorite cards next week, as we are wont to do.
Oh, it's already doing it next week. Wow.
Yeah, we'll have at least 3/4 of the set by then.
Yeah, next week we'll talk about favorites. The week after we'll have the whole set, so we can have the top 10 and so on, and kind of brace for impact we have the preview stream too, right? I think they're still doing that.
Yeah.
I have not gotten any word on that, but theoretically that exists.
Remember, they don't give out invites anymore. We're just in the Discord.
Right.
So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So is that next week?
No. That would be at least 2 weeks away minimum.
Well, the good news is in 2 weeks, that's the episode that I have to miss because I'll be out of the country. Oh, so if that is the preview stream, I will not be doing the preview stream. I will be in Canada.
It's probably somewhere in the middle there. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
That said, we move on to the first pick to gather the townsfolk thanks to our sponsor, Mana Traders. Get the best tool to enhance your Magic Online experience. Use the code MagicMikes_54P. That's 54Paul for 10% off your next subscription with Mana Traders. Tell them we sent you, and we appreciate it. And so now we have a little tale of FOMO. Don't you just love the FOMO? I love the FOMO. And,
hey, it's a great marketing tool.
Yeah, well, it turns out that, Explorer is leaving us. Explorer as a format on Arena is leaving. And if you want that magical little tag that you can have under your username that says Veteran Explorer, where you have to do 450 games, oh my God, of Explorer, which is a lot. They've extended the time until Monday, well, that time's already ended.
Yep.
That was a news story that we should have covered last week, but I'm not sure if it was even up last week.
It's totally fine.
It wasn't even up last week. Well, if you were able to play 450 games, congratulations. You are one of the few, the proud, that hold the Veteran Explorer tag that you can put underneath their username.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting thing, right? Because I jokingly said in the pre-show, as nerds, we are the kings of conspicuous consumption. Yeah. Right. We like to just have things, collect things, anything that lets us show that we're better, smarter, faster, been here longer, wherever. People like having that. And that's exactly what this is, right? I will have a tag that nobody else can ever get because I was here first and played all the games and I have this thing. And the cool part is if you already earned it, they're going to give you the new label for Pioneer, whatever it is. And if not, you just earn the Pioneer one if you don't have the old one. So some people will probably wear that as their badge forever because it'll be a thing you can't get anymore. And, cool that Wizards at least acknowledge it. It probably got several thousand people to go and play more games over the weekend. So, yeah, why not?
My concern with that type of, scenario is that it often had people doing nothing games, right? Play two permanents, skip, whatever, do the best. Play ley lines because that would let you play two permanents early and things like that. So you could see it immediately. You had to play two permanents at least before it would count as a game.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know that it encouraged weird behaviors. And it's one of those where, if it's a FOMO in the real world, you have a thing, you have an object. Even if it's a FOMO in Magic Online, you have a digital object. But for this, it's just a thing you can have on an account that you can't resell. And it's
sure.
Well, all right. It's fine. It's nerd cred. There's nothing wrong with nerd
But
cred. It's very
as much as
fine, unique nerd cred.
I've said before, I have many issues with the League of Legends community, and it's why I don't play League of Legends anymore. But the times I've seen a cool Sivir skin pop up, I have gone and given them their like $5, like just in case. like if I decide to play or play with some friends, I kind of want the cool skin for the character I like to play. So, I get it.
It's fine. I understand. It's just a little. It's a little silly to me again when you can't get it out of the game. You're just kind of
sure.
But that's okay.
You know what it is though? It's like on Xbox or where people I remember seeing a website where people would literally just achievement hunt. They had like list of all the games and how many achievements were in all of them, and how many points they were. And people would literally trade games just so they could try to earn all the achievements on all the different games. Even though it doesn't mean anything, it only just shows that you have so many achievement points on your account or whatever. Like people like having that stuff. It's weird, but there's a sub part of our nerd culture that loves that stuff.
Well, look, I mean, for example, there are speed runs of Magic. If you didn't know that, there are speed runs for Magic. How fast can you win a game? For example, how fast can you beat Sparky or something? Like there's a variety of categories that you can look on speedrun.com for Magic Arena. It's wild and hilarious. Speaking of Magic Arena and Alchemy, the format you can only play on it, they announced at one point that they're adding another designer and they're going to talk about Alchemy maybe a little bit more, and maybe they're going to be a little reactive. All right, cool. Well, there's Alchemy updates, and they basically nerfed the best card from every archetype that was kicking all the ass. That's what's happened, it appears. The Alchemy changes that happened yesterday. Rebald Shanty went from 1 mana to 2 mana. I won't bother explaining all these things because they're online mechanics, but Enduring Friendship was a killer otter card. This card was insane, by the way. It went from 2 mana to 3 mana. This card was absolutely crazy. I'm talking I could drop like this turn on turn 2 and then another one on turn 3 and then a turn 4 and a spell, and like all your cards are a million / a million power and toughness. It was nuts.
Wow.
And so it's just funny they said, okay, we're gonna update these 4 super powerful digital only cards to make them worse. Nothing's making anything better.
Sure.
See ya. And I'm like, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, like on the one hand, I'm like, okay, at least you're making updates to make the format better. You're balancing some of the cards. However, again, we'd like to see cards that are underplayed get boosted up so people want to play with them. Right? Like that's one of the coolest parts about what they can do with Alchemy, and they really haven't done it much in the last almost 3 years.
Like
at this point,
to be clear, I love this. You're paying attention to the formats. You're bringing them down a peg. They were a little ridiculous, especially some of the auto cards were crazy. But there needs to be the other half of this where we get excited about going, oh, but look at what they made better. Look how they pushed so and so. Look how they made X different or Y different or this counts so and so. Like all the little knobs you can turn some towards the power, line of things versus the nerf side of things. So we can have the other side of this conversation, which is let's get excited about playing Alchemy. Why? Because you can have this experience with these cards that you can't in the other formats. So, just one of those things, and it makes me a little sad.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah. But how many people have already pre-ordered their Final Fantasy on Arena?
Yeah.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I will say that there is I'm looking through the Magic channels right now, and the biggest thing that I can mention right now is that there's a very big streamer, a member of Team OTK, one of the biggest stream teams that exists, who's currently looking through Magic cards and learning how to play Magic because of the Final Fantasy set.
Huh.
And I can tell you a lot of people have pre-ordered it online because I've encountered a lot of people already that have their Moogle pet. So they've at least bought the bundle that has the Moogle pet. So a bunch of people have already picked up their stuff.
Look, man, I've already pre-ordered it, because that's who we are. But I can't get rid of the Rock with the little mustache on him.
Yeah, same.
That's
Dastardly Dwayne.
Yeah, Dastardly Dwayne is never. You can't replace
Dastardly Dwayne with the beat up backs, beat up card sleeve backs. Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, bury me in those.
Did I realize the other day? I'm still using one of the first pets from forever ago. The dog that sort of looks like a fox that has the multiple tails.
Yeah.
I've had that dude forever, and I've just been too lazy to swap it out.
It still looks like Jaya Ballard when old lady Jaya Ballard when I log into a game. That's still my profile picture.
And I agree.
Yeah, I think I've used Vivian from the beginning.
Yeah, the Jay Chandra Chocobo is going to be quite the pull, but
Yeah.
dastardly Dwayne, y'all, you can't be giving up with the googly eyes. It's the googly eyes.
Yeah, people are gonna rock the Jace Chandra Chocobos though. I think
Yeah.
those you have to earn though on
Oh,
the
those are very cute. Oh, I love
Mastery Pass,
those.
I think is where you get those, if I'm
I
not
didn't know these existed. Where were
They
these?
showed them, they used them as the background characters on the preview show at
Mm.
PAX.
Aw.
There was like Team Jace and Team Chandra. And then I think you can earn those
Jace looks like
whenever.
a duck and Chandra looks like a chicken.
Yeah, basically. Because they're chocobos with like
Sure.
the proper clothing, basically.
Right.
Well, the wondrous Sam from Mystic Studies put out a call the other day on Blue Sky, bringing it up here on the screen. He notes a call for participants. Please send a less than 30-second audio clip of an esoteric fact, a core memory, a hummed song, an in-joke, a confession, a gripe, your personal experience with Final Fantasy. You can record it with anything. I like it down here. He's like, I don't care if you record it on your DS, as long as you can send in an email. And it'll be used in the video, perhaps. Now, obviously, if he gets a million of
Cool.
them, he'll have to pick and choose.
Right.
But I do just adore this idea because for me, and I think one of the things that Power Dragon was saying, like he hasn't completed one. I think I've only beaten maybe one Final Fantasy ever. But Final Fantasy, at least in my experience growing up as the video game nerd kid, was not about beating the games. It was about playing the games. You know, it was the
Sure.
experience of the exploration and being with friends and trying for hours and like trying and getting somewhere and, you know, and building your party the right way and putting the different spells together, the different, you know, strategies together, all that stuff. And the story was great. You know, putting that stuff together was the really exciting and interesting part to me. And I'm excited to try to record something for it.
Nice. Yeah. Again, this is not my wheelhouse. When it gets to December and we get to talk about Avatar, or when we're talking about Tarkir, when we talk about Lorwyn next year, then we'll be back in my wheelhouse. But this one leaves to the experts. I'm sure they're great games. I love RPGs. I just have no experience myself.
I think this is the fun part, even for creators, though, is when we're doing Universes Beyond stuff, is it's a chance to do something completely different that wouldn't necessarily make a lot of sense in just a regular Magic video or whatever that we haven't already seen a bunch of times.
Right.
And you get a chance to speak to a whole new audience, right? Well, because I think I even mentioned this yesterday or the day before. It's like, as Magic creators, we are very lucky that we don't have to look for content to make, right? We have new sets. We always have like some type of controversy, some artwork, some whatever. There's always a thing. Whereas I feel like when I watch creators of other games, like, well, there's no new product for like 6 months and there's one major tournament and this is all we have to talk about or whatever. And like for us, it's constant. So this is actually just another cool iteration of something we get to do. So yeah, I hope Sam gets to turn out a really cool video out of it.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, what I found is sort of the larger the esport, the less they talk about the game and the more they talk about the people, right? The more they talk about the players and the coaches and the organizations and all this other crap and like the whole highlight.
That's
example.
also the sport. I mean, the bigger a game or the bigger a sport exists is the same thing for sure.
Right. But what I'm sort of saying is like there's not enough kind of new content added to those games that is a giant feature of it.
I see.
Right. Like, God knows I love me some Counter-Strike and the pro map pool changes once every 3 years, maybe. Like
actually, if I could relate that to like professional sports ball for people, it's like the one reason the NFL is so big and so good is that it's almost all year long they have something to talk about, right? Like we just came out of like the NFL draft and now there's like the recap of the draft and whatever for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll be talking about training camps and who gets signed and who doesn't, and then it'll be free agents and whatever, and then we're into the season and then we're doing the season stuff, and then it's all right, the trade deadline, and then what happens at the trade deadline, then the playoffs, and then the Super Bowl, and then the Pro Bowl and whatever, and then we're back to the draft again, right? You have like what feels like maybe a month and a half of downtime, and then we're back to talking about more NFL stuff. Whereas most leagues, it's like, okay, we have some training camp and the draft happens, but it's not a big to do. And then you get to the regular season, you play it out, you have your championship game, and then there's kind of nothing again until you get back to the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what it feels like when you're comparing Magic to some other games. It's like Magic, we just get stuff bombarded all year long. And other games, you kind of have your big release every year and maybe something small to go with it.
Yeah, we and like I was saying, back in the world of 2010, 2011, you know, it was a little slim on the pickings there, where sometimes Magic didn't always have a release coming out
Oh, for
every
sure.
month
Right.
or other month, or all there was a
Well, we
Grand
had to
Prix
fill
coming up,
our.
you know.
I was
that
just going to say we had to fill our days with competitive Magic.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Now that we have a release every month, we don't need to worry about who won what tournament.
right. And, you know, and it would always be like a limited GP too. It wouldn't be
Mhm.
like, oh, this cool new deck or this cool
Yeah.
strategy. It's like, no, maybe he'll open a good rare, you know.
Yeah.
We're trying to break down which colors were worth drafting or something. You know, like there's not a lot to go on.
Right. When it matters to just like the smallest little slim slice of the audience. Goodness gracious. Let's go ahead here and turn the corner to the finisher. Now, one of the greatest moments in the history of the internet, the famous Leeroy Jenkins moment from World of Warcraft, turned 20 years old this week. Feel old yet? Huh? Yeah? Go see your doctor. Well, if not, tell me what you were up to 20 years ago and how you've changed, Ruben.
Well, I do feel old, but 20 years ago, in 2005, I was an undeclared sophomore in college who didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. And in the 2 decades since, the only thing that's changed is that these days I'm merely sophomoric, and instead of being a sophomore.
Power Dragon?
Well, I don't feel old, but you know, that's because they tell me black don't crack or whatever that's all about. So,
Right.
But 20 years ago in 2005, I was opening my third location of my game store, which was pretty cool. But that's because I'm an ageless and timeless magical magic entity.
So ageless, so timeless.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, 20 years ago in 2005, I was an IT guy for an accident investigation company, raising 2 of my 5 kids. The other 3 weren't around quite yet. And I had just started writing about magic on the internet. And in the time since, I'm no longer actively raising children or working in IT, but 2 decades on, I'm still an enthusiast talking about Magic the Gathering.
With a mic.
Some things don't change.
Let's go. That's right. Join the rest of the world with the podcast, and that ends in the live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Power Dragon.
Hey, as always, good to be here. And seriously, if you're a regular listener, share us with your newfound Final Fantasy friends, because they're probably going to be looking for a show to get filled in on all the Magic news.
That's right. Send them our way. Thank you, Ruben.
Yeah, we would love to have new folks come in and talk about the news that exists, and then send them on their merry way to whoever's playing after this. Flawless segue to the outro.
Whoa, so good as we move on here, and that ends another live episode of that Magic Mics. Moving to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, Mana Traders, my co-hosts, Power Dragon and Ruben Bressler, viewers like you for watching and listening. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social tells people we exist. Catch us on our exclusive member Discord. Subscribe to our Patreon. Watch us live on Twitch. Join us live or tape in our YouTube channel. Check us out on TikTok. Follow us on Blue Sky. Join us here next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.